Hi, my babies, and welcome back to another video. It's your girl, Virgo Garden. If you don't know, now you know. Anything you need to know about little me will be down below in the description box. You do not have to be a Virgo to watch this video. Hi, my babies. Hi, my babies. Hi. We about to go ahead and get into the Sunday Mimosa, but before we do, quick announcement. You get the 12 Months of Growth Challenge book, the autographed version, 23% off when you enter the code 12months23 until January 31st. So, I know it's been a minute since I've done one. Okay, mama had a lot going on. I know it's been a minute. So this one is going to be episode 31, I believe. Generational curses are real. Yeah. So this one is actually near and dear to my heart because it focuses mainly on someone who is extremely, extremely important to my childhood, and also someone who was a big part of my inner child damage, to be quite honest with you. And it's not that they caused it, it's just that you'll find out. Yeah. So, we're going to be talking about today my Aunt Ann, who is my favorite auntie, will forever be my favorite auntie. There will not ever be another auntie over her. Period. Okay? Period. She's also my godmom. She is my mom's youngest sister on her mother's side. Her father actually, his last child is actually a girl. So she's the youngest sister on her mom's side. So my Aunt Ann, she's different from the rest of the siblings. Grandma had 7 kids with her ex-husband, granddaddy. And she's the youngest girl. She's also the next to the youngest child. The child up under her is actually my godfather, who is my Uncle Nathan, who actually just so happens to be gay. So I really have a feeling she probably knew that shit back then before everybody else knew, because they were really, really tight. Now, my auntie was the coolest auntie. She knew the music. Auntie had all the snacks. I mean, all the snacks at her house. She legit had a whole entire China hut full of snacks. She had every chip, every cereal, every cookie, every gummy. Like, yo, auntie had all these snacks. You just basically go downstairs and you pick what the fuck you wanted, okay? Who needs to go to the grocery store? She was the coolest auntie. She also an auntie that will pull up and whoop some ass for you too, okay? That was my boo. Now, problem is, I'm noticing a certain generational curse that's going throughout my family. And as far back as I have been able to go with it is with my grandmother. My grandmother is the next to the youngest daughter. I think she's one of the youngest children. She's like definitely in like the 5 youngest children out of my great-grandparents' kids. They had 11 together, I believe. My grandma is the prettiest out of all of her sisters, okay? So much so that my favorite cousin actually calls her the prettiest auntie. Okay, and I'm pretty sure the other ones didn't like it, but he calls her the prettiest auntie because my grandma is. My grandma does not look her age. Okay, grandma is a baddie. All right, grandma is a baddie. She fine, goddammit, period, point blank. Grandma is fine, all right? When I show people her picture, I introduce people to her, they are just blown away when I tell them how old my grandma is. They're like, it's no way in hell your grandma is 20 years older than what I thought she was. Yes, grandma is fine, okay? So, my grandma not being spiritually aware she didn't understand that my sisters are jealous of me. So, because this is a problem that was not fixed, and I'm pretty sure it goes back further than just my grandmother, it trickled down to her children. Now, it took me a lot of reflecting over the years to realize that my mother and my other aunt, the one I got in the fight with, was jealous of my Aunt Ann. She was the youngest. She had, the loudest personality. She was dope. Everybody wanted to be her friend. Like, y'all, she was just mad cool. Like, there's nothing else to say about this woman other than she was just mad cool. She had her morals and her values together. She was about her paper. Like, she was a real motherfucking woman. Okay? And it took me probably up to a couple years ago to realize my mama and my other aunt is jealous of her. And if you've been listening to me for a while, you know that my oldest sister is jealous of me. This is what I mean when I say generational curses. Now it goes a little deeper because her relationship with her mom is amazing. Like the relationship she has with my grandmother, amazing. Best friends. The relationship she had with my mama, the opposite. They always getting into it over little tiny shit. I remember when she used to live with us, they used to get into it over the size of the ice in the ice tray. My mama, she likes small ice, and my aunt likes big ice. My mama was like, you gotta make the ice smaller so you get out of the ice tray. My aunt was like, this little tiny piece of ice, this ain't real ice. Like little petty shit like that. They will always get into it, right? My mom also, I feel like some of the jealousy also came from the fact that my mom is the oldest. So she was the one who had to help my grandmother, since my grandmother was raising 7 kids by herself. So she had to have a job. She had to do chores, make sure the kids was up and out for school or doing what they were supposed to be doing, cooking, and this, that, and the third. So she had all the responsibilities, and I guess it seemed like my aunt was just living her best life. So that's also where some jealousy came from with my mother towards her. Now the other thing is, I just remember my entire life growing up, her siblings always talking bad about her. My aunts and uncles always talking bad about her. Oh, she always whining, she always loud, this, that, and the third. Basically the same thing that they do to me. Because you don't act like us, we gotta basically down you and talk bad about you because you're different and you're so loud and you draw all this attention and this, that, and the third. And my grandma is the type that, my grandmother's a Southern Belle. She don't like attention to be drawn. So I guess she taught that to her children. But my aunt was like, I want to be myself. So when I was born, our relationship was great. It's actually a picture, my favorite picture of me and my aunt. I think that's the only picture me and my aunt have together, unfortunately. Just us by ourselves. Where she's holding me. Like, that lady used to treat me like I was her. She used to take me with her everywhere. She used to buy me gifts, go to the circus, the zoo. Like, I remember she bought me a Baby Bop because Barney was my favorite show. Like, that was my baby. Like, she treated me like I was her child. And then when she had kids, I remember she kept trying to have kids. And at the point in time, I didn't understand. But she had 6 miscarriages before she had her first son. She has 2 sons, and y'all have heard me talk about them as well. The oldest one is the one that back in 2020, I was like, y'all, me and my cousin ain't speaking right now. Okay, we speaking again. Okay, now we're not speaking again. Yeah, we've been on that since 2021. He's good where he's at. May he find his way, okay? I am not the person to guide him to find his way. He has to find it on his own. But I still look at him like that's my little brother. So when she had him, me and him, we was thick as thieves. We was tied to the hip, all right? Like he used to follow me everywhere. We used to do everything together. I would go with her and him over her friend's house. We go to baseball games, just all types of stuff, y'all. And I remember he found out, he was like 2 years old. He found out I wasn't a boy. He was so upset. He was so upset. He didn't want to talk to me for a little bit, but that's how close we were. Like, she was like a second mom to me. Even when she had her second son, who is my baby, that is my little brother for life right there. Like, we were always close. We were always going places together, playing the video game together and stuff like that. Now, when we moved to another city, the house we moved to was smaller. So they moved to a smaller house thinking everybody that was living in the house wouldn't try to come and move with us. And so everybody had to find their own place. That didn't last long. My uncle ended up getting kicked out of his house, so he's living with us. Then my aunt ended up separating from her husband, so then they're living with us. So my uncle's in the living room. My aunt is in the den with her 2 sons. My mom has a room, my grandma has a room, I have to share a room with my sister. But at the same time, everybody's still coming in and out, cousins, this, that, and the third. So there is no privacy. I'm getting frustrated. I'm getting touched on by 3 different people at this point in time. So I started acting out. I started having an attitude problem, and nobody really knew. Nobody knew. Ain't nobody really knew. Nobody knew what was going on, of course, other than the people who was touching me. So I remember one day, because my cousins will always be in our room, but then when it's time to clean up, don't nobody want to help clean up, but y'all the ones that tore it up. So I'm cleaning up because grandma said clean up and ain't nobody helping me. And it's like 5 people in there and ain't nobody helping me. And I'm the youngest. I was heated. Got up, walked out the room, went in the living room where my aunts, my cousins were. And they playing a video game that my aunt bought for them. And I'm playing the video game. My grandma come in there fussing. Didn't I tell you clean up the room, this, that, and the third? Not even knowing. I did my part. I cleaned up. They keep messing it up. Like, I'm frustrated. But you can't talk back to adults, so what do? I slammed down the controller. Oh, my aunt saw that shit, and she paid for that controller. Oh, she was hot. Oh, she was hot. She grabbed me and spun me around. Don't you be doing that, and da-da-da-da. Be slamming down stuff that I paid for. That argument was so bad, y'all. I was like, don't put your hands on me. You ain't my mama. Okay. Okay, don't be putting your hands on me. Y'all, that argument got so bad. My pops had to come get me, my mom, and my sister. Because my mom wasn't there at the point in time when it happened. She was at work, of course, like she always was. But he came and got us and took us to dinner. Now, that's one thing I will give my daddy. He won't shit, but he would damn sure come get me and take me to Pizza Hut. Okay, okay? I'll give him that. I will give him that. He would damn sure come get me and take me to Pizza Hut. So he was trying to figure out, how can we diffuse the situation. But basically, I can't come live with him because his wife don't even know about me yet, okay? And I was 9 at the point in time. So for basically the next year, me and my auntie could not stand each other. She would say something slick out her mouth, or I would say something slick up under my mouth, or smack my lips, or roll my eyes, and next thing you know, me and my aunt are arguing. You got a smart mouth for a child, so do your kids. Like, we just going back and forth, and that just went on for a year. So I don't remember exactly how we made up, but we did make up. But I do kind of remember she was in the den, like I said, so she had this big screen TV. And she was always watching movies, and she would pop popcorn, and she would watch movies that I like just so happened. So one night, I wanted to watch Twister, because that was my favorite movie at the point in time. And I wanted to watch Twister, and I wasn't about to ask her to watch Twister with her, because we not talking, okay? So I laid down in the hallway, which the couch started where the hallway stopped at. So where I'm laying at, I'm thinking she can't see me because I'm in the hallway. I'm not beside the couch. I'm laying there watching the movie. Next thing I know, this arm reaches over the couch with a bowl of popcorn. Thompson, you want some popcorn? Like, what? I was like, oh shit. So she knew I was there. And that's how me and my aunt made up. I would just lay in the hallway and watch movies with her. And that's when she started noticing Nina is different. Like, I was always trying to get away from my cousins or my sister. I was always trying to find a quiet place where I could kick it at. And that's when she started noticing that. So I remember the day came, she finally stacked up her money because she was buying her appliances and stuff for her crib. And she moved out. And I was happy, but I was sad at the same time because we were getting closer. I remember she came to pick up my cousins, her sons, after school, because they still went to the school in my neighborhood. And she came to pick them up after school, and I was on the phone. And she was trying to figure out who I was on the phone with. And I hung up the phone. I was like, I gotta go. I'm like, Auntie, why are you being so nosy? And it's like, she kind of had a pep talk with me. And I always remember that pep talk. And she was telling me about how, basically the family is judgmental. You always be yourself. Always stand up for yourself. Don't expect anyone to stand up for you, and always speak your mind. And when I say that shit stuck with me for my entire life, that shit stuck with me for my entire life, to the point where I have gotten in arguments with my mother, and I have thrown that conversation back in her face. I'm like, this is what I was talking about when she told me be myself. Because she knew y'all won't shit, okay? That's when I started, like, the older I got, I started figuring out that's what she meant. When she was like, be yourself, don't let anybody tell you, like, is anything wrong with you, always be proud of who you are, always stand up for yourself, always express yourself, speak your mind. I get it now. Because she knew the type of person I was going to have a hard time with a family that is judgmental and fake and always try to put on a front like they're perfect and they're not. So even though she moved out into her own place, just so happened, she ended up getting a 3-bedroom. So one room was hers, one room was, of course, for her sons, and then she made another room, which was a really small room, a game room for them, because they had so many board games, Chutes and Ladders, and Hungry Hippo, Candyland, like, apples and whatever that thing was. Like, yo, they had every flipping board game back in the day. Monopoly, they had everything. They had every Nintendo 64 game. Yo, it was ridiculous, okay? Like, she made sure they had the childhood she always wanted. Cause my auntie loves snacks. That's one thing I know about her growing up. She had a whole entire, like, snack stash, okay? She loves snacks, so she was one of the people who wanted to make sure she gave her children the childhood that she didn't have. And it's like, how can you be mad at her for that? Now, the dope shit is, my auntie was trying to figure out what was wrong with me and what was going on with me. And I don't think she knew I was getting molested, but I knew she knew it was something going on with me getting bullied with my cousins and stuff. So she was trying to figure that out and trying to, like, slowly get that out of me. So she actually bought an extra bed and put it in her son's room for me so I could stay the weekends whenever I wanted to, or stay the night whenever I wanted to. And she always would tell me, whenever you need a break, you know, you can always come over here. Just call me. I'll come get you. Or tell your grandma I'll come get you. Yeah, I really wish I would have took her up on that a lot more than what I did. So I remember, okay, it got to a point where her and my uncle, her soon-to-be ex-husband, they got to a point they really weren't getting along. Shit had got really toxic. He had this new girlfriend, and the shit was just all over the place, y'all. Like, the shit was just all over the place. I'm trying to be respectful of my uncle as well, because I love him dearly, too. So it got to a point where my aunt wanted a fresh start. Like, really, she just wanted a fresh start. She was going through a divorce, and she just wanted to get the fuck out Virginia, all honesty. So she moved to North Carolina with my aunt I got in a fight with. So we helped her move and stuff, and I was really upset she was leaving. And she kept telling me she got this gift for me for my birthday, and she was like she couldn't wait for me to have it because it's something I really want and something I really needed, and I had no clue what it was. So, yeah, I have no clue what it was. But, so I remember when she was leaving for North Carolina, I was really feeling like I wasn't going to see her again. I didn't want her to go. I wanted to hold on to her really tight. I wanted to go with her. I wanted to tell her, take me with you. Like, but she was so overwhelmed with trying to move and get everything together. And she was so excited because she's like, this is my new start. Things are going to happen for me. And she moved in, like I said, with my aunt. And she took her 2 sons with her, of course. And at the point in time, my aunt's 2 sons were also living with her and her husband, who I got in a fight with. And they were way older. So I remember it was August 8th, 2003, and my aunt called, and I picked up the phone. I was so excited to talk to her. I was like, Auntie, I missed you. I want to catch up with you. There's a whole bunch of stuff I want to tell you. And she was so busy with trying to get my little cousins in school. She was like, Nina, she was like, I got to talk to your grandma about some important stuff. She said, I'm going to call tomorrow, and I'm going to talk to you tomorrow. I promise. And I was like, okay, Auntie, I love you. And she was like, I love you too. Give your grandma the phone. So I give my grandma the phone. They had a conversation. They hang up. Now, my grandma went out of town on August 8th to my uncle's house in Northern Virginia. So it was Saturday, August 9th, 2003. My uncle was still living with us. He was at work. My grandma was in Northern Virginia. Me and my sister were at the house. And then my mom came home from work, and we were going to go to church because we grew up Catholic, so, you know, on Saturdays, we would go to church. So, we were getting ready to go to church. I didn't want to go, dragging my feet, get a phone call. It's from my aunt in North Carolina. They said they found my auntie face down in the garage, unresponsive. And she was on her way to the hospital. And the paramedic people, they couldn't get her to breathe. So now we sitting there waiting for a phone call. We praying, and we get a phone call back. And my aunt called to say that my aunt Ann didn't make it. And she passed away. My entire life changed in that moment. I did not realize I didn't have anybody to fight for me anymore. I didn't have anyone that was paying attention to me anymore. I didn't have an adult that would be on my side anymore. I didn't realize how bad my aunt passing away affected me and also affected her kids. That's why her oldest son, I'm like, you know what? I don't want to argue with you. I don't want to fight with you. I'm not going to talk bad about you. I'm going to just let you find your own way. Because when she passed away, he was 8 and his little brother was 6. I was 12. Not even a week later, it was literally a few days later, my cousin has me pinned down on my bedroom floor, titty fucking me, and he ejaculated on me. I had no time to mourn my aunt. I got hella fucking family in my house I don't even fuck with, that don't even fuck with me. People that done touched on me all around me, and nobody gets it, basically. So I went years and years and years holding that pain, not grieving my auntie. And in the replacement of her, I felt like I needed friends. I felt like my friends were my family. That's when I started feeling like my friends were my family. That's why in 10th grade, my 10th grade teacher was like, oh, Nina, friends are so needy. And my mom was like, oh, your friends are so needy. That's why. Because I felt like my friends were the closest thing I had to my aunt. They were the people that I felt like that understood me. But they really didn't. They really weren't my friends. But because I was hurting, that's what I attracted in. More hurt people. More hurt people. It took me over 10 years to go to her grave, but I have finally gone. I have put quite a few sunflowers on her grave since then. But it still hurts. I'm not gonna lie. Her birthday is, I believe, Friday, February 3rd. So yeah, I'm gonna make sure I definitely do something to celebrate her. So y'all, this is the Sunday mimosa of how generational curses are real. Because it took all of that for me to realize this is something that keeps occurring over and over. And when my aunt passed away, I saw how hurt my mother was. And she realized how silly the things was that they would bicker over. But one thing I would give my aunt and my mama, even though they would go back and forth, they wouldn't let nobody disrespect them. They wouldn't let nobody disrespect the other one in front of them. I can't say that for me and my sisters. Okay? I can't. Well, Auntie Dan show was a solid one. But I'm still working on my healing from this. Because I definitely have realized that if she was still here, my life would have been so much different. I probably would have got emancipated at 16, because I probably would have ended up going to go live with my aunt. And I probably would have came out a long time ago with me being touched on. And nobody would have ever put their hands on me the way that they did. Because my auntie would have whooped some ass for her sister touching me the way that she did. For sure. So may you take this lesson and look at what some of the patterns are in your family and where some of the things in your family need to be broken. All right? So, all right, babies, I'm your girl, Virgo Garden. If you didn't know that shit, I bet you know that shit now. How to find me, how to book me, and how to get my wonderful, beautiful, amazing products that you all love so much will be down below in the description box. I love you, babies. Sometimes you gotta understand, hurt people, okay? And you gotta see people with your spiritual eyes and understand that we all carrying something, all right? Think about it. Love you, babies. Mwah.